So, what's your temptation? I mean, maybe not temptation, but what hinders you in terms of your personal growth or your personal goals or something like that? What gets in the way? I mean, for me, if I walk into a bakery and there is a chocolate croissant, I mean, I can't walk out of that bakery without buying a croissant. I'm the same way if I see a beautiful piece of cheesecake. I don't know what it is, but if I go to a restaurant and they say, "Do you want to see the dessert menu?" A lot of times I'll say, "Oh no, no." And then if I say, "Well, what do you have?" And if they say cheesecake, it's like I'm all over that. I don't know what it is, but that is such a hindrance, especially when I'm trying to watch what I'm eating, right? I mean, it hits me with other things too. For example, like if I'm trying to read and I'm trying to really concentrate on what I'm reading, I can't have the TV on. If I have the TV on, I know my mind will just boom go to what's on the TV. I've got to really stay focused on what I'm reading. Or if I have kind of like a free afternoon where there's nothing going on, sometimes if I really want to just enjoy the day, right? I need to take my phone and I need to put it away, because what's going to happen is I'm going to get on there. I'm going to start playing a game. I'm going to start, Googling things. I mean, these are hindrances that get in the way of me trying to accomplish something I want to accomplish, or do something I want to do, or kind of reach a goal I want to reach. And these hindrances, I think, affect us in different times and in different ways. I don't really know what your hindrance might be. It might be something similar. It might be something different. But there are these hindrances in life. We may be trying to save money. Well, don't go on Amazon if you want to try to save money. You want to try to lose weight. Avoid cheesecake if you want to try to lose weight. You want to get work done. Make sure you don't have the distractions of the TV, right? I mean, these things that hinder us, these things that get in the way, it's not that they're bad, right? I mean, there's nothing inherently bad about any of those things, but they still get in our way. So I was thinking about this, and I was reading through some of the book of Hebrews. And Hebrews has this wonderful chapter 11, where it talks about, at the beginning of chapter 11, it talks about what faith is about. And it gives this wonderful definition of faith. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. And then it goes through this list of those who live by faith in this way, of having this assurance of things that they hope for and this conviction of things that they didn't see. So it lists all these different kind of biblical heroes of the faith that we look at. And then when it comes to the end of that verse, or end of that chapter, beginning of chapter 12, it says this: "Therefore, since we have been surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin that clings so tightly, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken the seat at the right hand of the throne of God." Now, the word hindrance isn't there. It's translated here as weight. But the idea is where it talks about laying aside every weight, laying aside every hindrance, laying aside everything that gets in your way. A lot of times when we read that, we think of sin. We think of laying aside the sin, or we think of the sin as getting in the way of our growth and our faith journey. But if you look closely at this, it says, "Let us lay aside every weight," and then it says, "and the sin that clings so closely to us." I don't know that I ever really paid attention to that as closely as maybe I should. Because here's the thing: I know that sin gets in the way of my faith. I know that sin gets in the way of my personal growth, but there are other things that also get in the way. They're not necessarily bad things. but they're things that get in the way of my being able to grow and to embrace this faith that God has given us. For me, it's different than for you, perhaps. But maybe what it takes is taking time to reflect closely on what those things are that have gotten in the way. That's what the author of Hebrews, I think, is trying to tell us. Yes, sin will get in the way. But what are the other things? What are the other things that are hindrances for you growing in your faith?